What's going on, everybody? Yesterday, we saw a historic move. It is not often that future Hall of Fame coaches get traded for first-round picks, so that's what I got to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to kind of lay out exactly how much blame I think falls on Wilson versus Hackett for the state of the 2022 Broncos, and what I think Sean Payton is going to do to the passing offense to try to get the most out of Russell Wilson, and overall, if I think it was a good idea, a good process or not. So with that all being said, let's get right into it and talk a little bit about Russell Wilson. I think the most important thing is to set realistic expectations. And to do that, you've got to understand that the biggest problem with the Denver offense was this guy. All right, it was not Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett could scheme up something beautiful. Nathaniel Hackett could scheme up something wide open, first read, and Russ just wouldn't throw it a lot of the time. Like this play, for example, pre-snap, what does this look like? Looks like it could be man cover two. You got the two high safeties, and then you got all the underneath defenders basically right over top of an eligible receiver. I mean, this guy at the bottom of the screen here, I mean, his eyes are directly on number 15. That's a very strong man coverage indicator. So with this look, what they do is they're going to run like a little rub route right about here between this receiver and this tight end, try to screen this linebacker in the mess right here and get number 80 open, right? Now, Russ is looking at that way. He's reading that out. Okay, it's confirmed man cover two. You see this corner with his eyes directly on the hips of this receiver running inside with him. They don't even need the screen because the linebacker doesn't even run with number 80. There's no one in the flat. He's running to the sideline. There is no one there. This is wide open immediately, right? Easy throw. You could turn upfield, probably pick up another 10 yards, explosive play. Russ is looking that way. That is his first read right there. It's working perfectly, but he moves off of it. The other side doesn't have anyone open. And then he's like, well, fuck it. Number 15, I don't even know who that is. Kendall Hinton? Tyree Cleveland? I don't know off the top of my head who number 15 on the Broncos is. But instead of throwing it to the wide open guy, fuck it, number 15's over there somewhere. Big overthrow. I mean, Russ was just terrible operating in structure this season. There are many plays like this from every single Broncos game. Another example, you've got three eligibles to this side. Two of them are going to run clear outs to open up this out route. Now, immediately after the snap of the football, these two corners are backpedaling, right, to respect the vertical threat of these two clear outs. And the guy driving on the out route is way over here. This is wide open right now. But I don't even know what Russ is reading here. It's not even like he's reading a receiver. He's just like looking straight ahead, not even giving the concept a chance. And it's not like he's looking at the other receiver. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's looking at. Like, this is wide open. The concept is cooking. If you were paying attention, bang, throw it even before he's out of his break. Easy first down. But instead, oh no, I'm going to scramble out and then throw like a prayer that doesn't get completed. Again, this is like, how can this be Hackett's fault if there's guys running wide open and Russ is not seeing them? Forgive me of my ignorance. I'm not totally sure what this route concept is named, but you've got a big post route, and then you've got like a wheel, and then you've got a hitch, which turns into like an out route as soon as this becomes more of a second reaction throw. All right, and what that does, so right here, you've got the post, and then the wheel, and then that's going to stretch this safety horizontally, right? He has to take one of them. Now, this guy's sitting down, but once that ball is in there instantly, he kind of moves towards the sideline. And what that's going to do when he's moving towards the sideline is stretch these two defenders vertically, because you've got this guy running up, and then these guys have to make the decision. They're getting high load. They have to make the decision, are we going to follow this guy vertically, or are we going to take the underneath route? Now, there's a little bit of confusion here, and both of these things come open. He's open over the top because this safety is taking the big post, and this guy is also open underneath right here. And this is a good pocket, right? There's a little bit of pressure, but 73 pushes it by him. If you just kind of slid and then climbed, I mean, you could stand in there and take this shot, or just throw it to the sticks for an easy first down. Russ drops his eyes. He doesn't do either of those things. He checks the other side. Okay, this guy's wide open, right? Your check down, very safe throw, right? You don't like that frontside concept. There's too much pressure. You dropped your eyes, whatever. Throw it to this guy. There's still an easy first down to be had. Russ still doesn't do it. He throws it down the field to this dude on the run, and it lands like 5 yards out of bounds. There are multiple open guys here, and this is a perfectly fine pocket to operate from, and you can't do anything with it. There is no way Sean Payton is watching this. Here's another example where they're going to have a smash concept, so just a quick little hitch route right there with a corner route above it, going to high-low this corner, and it's quarters, so he's going to go high. There's going to be 4 deep players here. First place Russ looks is this corner route. Linebacker's reading his eyes. He sticks on that corner route, drops back a little bit. Lots of space for this guy, right? He's open. Russ doesn't throw it. This guy's probably also open enough to throw it. Russ doesn't throw it. Oh, I have my check down. Misses the check down. There's no way Sean Payton is watching stuff like this over and over again and thinking like, yeah, I can make this guy breeze deep into his 30s on his 3rd contract. No. This offense is not going to be the dink and dunk down the field, Drew Brees, West Coast style offense. It's going to look more like when Sean Payton had Jameis, most likely. Basically, with Jameis, they were incentivizing him to get the ball out as fast as possible and as safely as possible with his dropbacks, his footwork. They were very short. Right here, it's basically just 1 step, back foot is planted, 1 hitch, throw. All the reading is done pre-snap. And with Brees, you might think of it like, oh, he was getting the ball out super fast in his old age, right? But they were a little bit deeper dropbacks, giving him more time to read the coverage post-snap and hang in the pocket. With Jameis, right, he's someone who doesn't always move around the pocket perfectly. You know, the longer the play goes on, the more likely he is to make a stupid decision. So they're not giving him these long dropbacks where he has time to maybe drift or, you know, get antsy and bomb something down the field. It's like, no, Jameis, you're taking 1 step and you're throwing it to the guy that you think is going to be open pre-snap. That's what they were telling him to do. When you look at the type of dropback and you look at the deep traditional dropbacks, 5 and 7 steps, and you look at the Saints weeks 1 through 8, 2021 versus weeks 1 through 8, 2020 when they had Brees. With Brees, they attempted those deeper dropbacks almost double the amount of times. And the difference between those dropbacks are hilarious. The average throw depth with Jameis is 13.5 yards almost, substantially higher than Drew Brees, who wasn't getting it even past the sticks. It was at 7.9. And Brees was better, right? He was the one reading out concepts, a lot of the time taking the check down, but the EPA on those plays was substantially higher with Drew Brees than Jameis Winston, who still wasn't really a net positive on those plays. And it makes sense why Sean Payton would design the offense that way. If you looked at Jameis when he had that 30 for 30 season in Tampa, when he was getting the ball out immediately, he did that 119 times. Like, the numbers weren't that bad. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Overall, the total EPA on those plays were positive. Like, that was fine. But if you made him hold the ball a little bit longer and drop back a little bit farther, then you started to get the hilarious stats like 27 interceptions in a season on those plays. So it makes sense why Sean Payton did not let him do that very much. And that's what Sean Payton does. His offense when Drew Brees had arm strength looked a lot different than his offense when Drew Brees didn't have arm strength at the end. And then it looked different the next year when Jameis Winston was the starter. And that's what he does. He tailors his offense to the strengths of the quarterback, and that's how he gets the most out of the guys. And you can't argue that he hasn't gotten the most out of guys. And he's already explained what he's going to do when he gets to Denver on the herd with Colin Cowherd. There's a clip of it.
I'd want to cut up of all Russell's pass plays of 30 or more yards from the field. And I'd want to see, are there some schemes that he felt very comfortable with? Like, I know that they did a great job in Seattle of bringing him off of a naked boot and then pulling up. And we all saw that like throwback to Lockett across the field where the ball traveled 60 yards in the air.
Right.
Then I'd want to look at another film of his red zone touchdown passes inside the 20. And so what I'm asking for from assistants is I'm asking for some of his greatest hits and to make sure that we have those song lyrics available. and if not, let's put them in.
I don't know how much Russell Wilson's game or this offense is going to like radically change. I think it would be stupid to try to turn him into 2020 Drew Brees. That's just not the type of player he is, unless he's going through a career renaissance at age like 34 on his third contract or whatever it is. Like, he knows that Russell Wilson, for all of his flaws, still has his cannon arm. He's going to dial up a couple deep shots every single game. This offseason, Sean Payton gets very important context that Nathaniel Hackett didn't have before he was fired. Sean Payton gets to know that Russell Wilson is not that guy that you traded for. And so when he's designing this offense, I think you're going to see more screens. You're going to see more of that one-step quick game that kind of takes pocket movement out of it. You're going to see a more robust run game. And when you dial up those deep shots, it's going to be off more play action. I feel like you're going to do some things to limit what the quarterback is doing in this offense, because there's no way around it. Russell Wilson was really bad this season, really bad. And stuff like the structure of the offense and play calling, that's the most tangible, interesting thing. But again, it's not really the most important thing, because that wasn't the problem with Hackett. There are guys open all the time. The key will be, can you teach Russ to hit those open guys better than Hackett could? Somehow, can you get him to pull the trigger a little bit faster? Can you motivate him? I don't know how it happens. Maybe after this rock bottom season, he'll bounce back and be a little bit more willing to do it. I think it's unreasonable to expect him to sit back there and be Tom Brady picking the defense apart. But can you get him to serviceable levels again? That's really what you got to expect with Sean Payton. It doesn't have to be a complete turnaround to be successful in my eyes, because that is such a lofty expectation to get Russ to an all-pro level from where he is now or anything like that. This might be a hot take, but I don't believe that in order for the Sean Payton tenure in Denver to be a success, Russell Wilson needs to experience a career renaissance. I think it can be a success if he's calling plays, guys are open again, and he's managing the clock well at the end of games, something that Nathaniel Hackett was actually terrible at. He's managing people well. There's no public freakouts on the sidelines or in the end zone after games. If he's doing that, everything is running smoothly, but once again, Russ is missing open guys. He's clearly still terrible. They can just cut Russ, all right? They can eat a bunch of dead cap and move on from him, and their first-round picks will be coming back next year. And then you're going to have to deal with questionable cap situations. This is going to set the franchise back, but you do still have Sean Payton and the opportunity to draft a new franchise guy, potentially. So I don't think that he needs to work out in order for the Sean Payton move to work out. And a very valid question after hearing all this might be, well, how could it possibly be worth giving up a first-round pick for a coach if you don't think that coach can salvage Russ's career? And that's a very, very legitimate question, but I think the thing you've got to understand is this. You made this move. You're stuck with this move. You're a new ownership group. You're in win now mode. All right, they are still in win now mode. They cannot blow this thing up now. They've got the 30th overall pick in the draft. They didn't want to give it up. They called John Harbaugh. He wasn't interested. They called DeMeco Ryans. He said no. They got to make a splash, man. They got to make a splash. They got to try. And the break glass in case of emergency signing with Sean Payton. And I get it. They got to try to turn Russ's career around. I don't think it'll work, but I do think they have to try. And I do think that Sean Payton is worth that first-round pick. I think that he is one of the best coaches in the league. I think the guy you're going to draft at 30 is not going to be as impactful as Sean Payton. Even if Russ does not work out, I'd rather have Sean Payton than anyone else working on the next rookie franchise guy. So I think it was worth it. The history of giving up first-round picks for coaches, Don Shula, that worked out in a big way. For giving up a first for Bill Belichick, that worked out in a big way. Giving up 2 firsts and 2 seconds for John Gruden, that worked out in a big way. They won a Super Bowl. Giving up a 6th-round pick for Bruce Arians, that worked out. Like, these are not historically bad deals when you get the coach. So overall, I get it. I understand the move. I think it's a worthy gamble. Like, look at the names of the coaches that appear and especially win Super Bowls. It's Belichick, it's Dungy, it's Coughlin, it's Cowher, it's Sean Payton, it's Mike Tomlin, it's John Harbaugh, it's Pete Carroll, it's Doug Peterson, it's Sean McVay, it's Andy Reid. These guys are not bums. All right, that 30th overall pick is turning into a left guard. There are some bum left guards who have won Super Bowls, but good coaching can elevate a team in a way that it's worth giving up a first round pick for. And look at the Saints this year. They fell apart. They fell apart without him. There really aren't any great, perfect moves to make right now if you're them. This is the best one to do. It's not perfect. It might not work out, but it's the best move. It's the best process. I do the same thing. I get it. So that's all I got to say about it. Thank you all so much for watching another All 22 review. I'll be back next week, probably talking about the Super Bowl, something Super Bowl related, but we'll see when it happens. And yeah, I'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your week.